YouTube, what's going on? It's your homie Davvon coming at you with our first ever Baldur's Gate 3 video. Now I want to preface this really quick by saying I love the Baldur's Gate games, I love the Icewind Dale games, I like D&D games in general. I love the Drizzt books, that's a complete side note. I have had the opportunity to play through this a little bit with the homies on Twitch, twitch.tv/Davvon if you haven't checked it out already. Now I thought it'd be a great idea to bring you guys some of the character creation as we create our first character that I'm going to take through a solo campaign, and I will be uploading piece by piece to YouTube. So without further ado, let's get right into the character creation. Alright, so here we are. I went ahead and clicked new game, which comes up with a cinematic, which I don't want to spoil it for you guys that are watching this on YouTube, just for the character creation portion. This is what the character creation screen looks like. We start off with our origin tab up here. Then you see you have race, appearance, class, skills, and ability. Your origin is essentially your backstory for your character. I'm going to change my name right here to Davvon. Now, you have custom origin right here, which is the only selectable option right now because early access has kind of got these all like X'd out or whatever. You can't select them. We're going to go ahead and make a male character right here. You can select your gender right there. You can select your background down here. So what these backgrounds will do is they will give you proficiencies or traits that coincide with that background, or bonuses that coincide with the background. For example, as an acolyte, you gain the insight proficiency, which gives you a proficiency bonus to any roll made with insight or religion. So if you find like what looks like a religious statue, religious scroll, and you try to decipher it or discern its meaning, you'll get a bonus to the roll to decide whether or not you can actually decipher said scroll or statue. That plays right in with your acolyte background. I'm going to scroll through these backgrounds really quick. If you guys need to stop and take a look at what they do, feel free to pause the video, but I'm just going to scroll through them really quick so you can see what kind of available options that they have. You have the Charlatan, Criminal, Entertainer, Folk Hero, Guild Artisan, Noble, Hermit, Outlander, Sage, Sailor, Soldier, Urchin, back to Acolyte. We're going to go ahead and select Entertainer here. You know, YouTube sensation and all that stuff, Dappa. Alright, we have selected Entertainer. Next thing we got to do is select our race. A lot of customizable options here. I'm going to go through and explain this really quick. There is currently 8 races in here with a lot of sub-races. Sub-races being a special certain type of that race, like Hill Dwarves, Gold Dwarves, Mountain Dwarves, etc. Different types of Dwarves, different types of Elves, Wood Elves, High Elves, etc. We'll go through it and we'll take a quick look at what the options are really fast. I already know what I'm going to make, so before we select that, we'll go ahead and take a look what we got here. Sub-races, Elf. High Elves, you have High Elf options, you have Wood Elf options. Heirs of the Mystical Feywild, High Elves value magic in all its forms, even those who do not study spellcraft can manipulate the weave. Very natural spellcasters. And with each race, you'll see at the bottom here what the race's features are. Keen senses, Fey Ancestry, they get a dexterity bonus. Proficiency with said weapons. Proficiency means bonus rolls. So if you use a short bow, you have extra specialized ability with that. And then sub-race traits, these are your sub-race. High Elves get a +1 to intelligence and a base racial speed. Now, as you can see, if you select a Wood Elf, the sub-race traits differ. Wisdom, Mask of the Wild, and Fleet of Foot. Wood Elves spend their reclusive lives in Faerun's forest. Decades of training in archery and camouflage are enhanced by an otherworldly swiftness. That's your Elves. Then you have your Tieflings. Tieflings? Question mark? Bound to nessus the deepest layers of hell, these Tieflings inherit the ability to wield fire and darkness from the Archdevil as Modius's infernal bloodline. So they're half infernal, half human, is what I gather. Alright, so you got Hellish Resistance, Dark Vision, and then those are your sub-race traits for Asmodeus. Then you have the Mephisto Tiefling. Intelligence and Charisma, descended from the Archdevil Mephistopheles. These Tieflings are gifted with a particular affinity for arcane magic. And then you got the Zerial Tiefling. Tieflings from Zerial's bloodline are empowered with martial strength and can channel Searing Flame to punish their enemies. So it looks like you have a Fire and Darkness, he's kind of like an evil Tiefling almost. Then you have like a Spellcasting Tiefling, and then you have like a Fighter Tiefling. Drows, a Lothsworn Drow, raised by lost cult in the city of Menzoberranzan. These Drow extol the virtues of their corrupt and merciless goddess. Loth Marks or followers of bright red eyes to the Underdark will learn to fear Drow on sight. Again, race features right down here. And then you have a cantrip. Dancing Lights. Create a wisp of light that illuminate at a 12-meter radius. It's a bonus action. And then you have your Celadrine Drow. Again, cantrip down here. Cantrips are essentially spells that you do not have to prepare. You can cast at any point. Drow are the result of an ancient schism between the elven deities Corlin, Larethian, and Loth. The latter's treachery drove the Drow in the Underdark, where they splintered into warring factions. Celadrine Drow can be found seeking allies from all over Fair and aiming to settle their conflict with Loth, and each day by any means necessary. We're going to actually go with a Lothsworn Drow when I create this character. I love Drizzt. Drizzt is my favorite fantasy book character of anything I've ever read. Again, if you haven't read the R.A. Salvatore books about Drizzt and you like fantasy, you're really missing out. First book is called, I believe, Homebound or Homegrown. I'm pretty sure it's Homebound, but I'm not positive. Human. Pretty self-explanatory. You're a human. Most common face is seeing fair, and humans are known for their tenacity, creativity, and endless capacity for growth. Something I would like to see a fantasy game or a fantasy book differently is, instead of humans being the most common face, I would like to see humans be a minority around these other races. I would like to see humans be secluded and not a part of all this. Alright, so Githyanki. I've never heard of a Githyanki before. Githyanki are peerless warriors from the astral plane, known for their legendary silver blades and red dragon mounts that seek the total destruction of mind flayers, whose ancient empire enslaved the Githyanki for millennia. That will come into play heavily later on in the game. You'll notice as the cinematics go through. I'm trying not to spoil any of the cinematics. When the gameplay videos come out, which will be coming out tomorrow, part 1s, part 2s, etc., going through what is released so far in the early access, you will then see the cinematics if you choose to. There will be spoilers there. Race features. Intelligence, strength, light armor, medium armor, sword, short sword proficiency, long sword, great sword. They like to use swords. Githyanki psionics and mage hand. Conjuration cantrip. Create an invisible spectral hand that can manipulate and interact with objects. So essentially this is like a safe way of like pulling a lever without you having to be there. Alright, so you have your dwarves. Gold dwarves, known for their confidence and keen intuition, the culture of the deep kingdom values family, ritual, and fine craftsmanship, dwarven resilience, battle axes, hand axes, light hammer, warhammer, dark vision, you can see in the dark, dwarven toughness, base racial speed, and wisdom. Gold dwarves get a wisdom bonus. Shield dwarves get a strength bonus. They're hardier, in my opinion. They're warriors. Where gold dwarves are, in my opinion, more like what, miners? Keen intuition. Maybe, yeah, craftsman sharp miners. Okay, so the way I interpret this are gold dwarves are more of the artisans or the crafters. Shield dwarves are more of the straight, you know, dwarves you'll see like on Lord of the Rings with Thorin. Half-elves. So the one thing I like that they added to this is the Drow half-elf. You don't see Drow half-elves in most games. Usually, Drow half-elves are just not even thought of. Usually it's just wood half-elf and high half-elves. So, high half-elves, a touch of Feywild remains in their half-elves with this bloodline, and even those untrained in magic possess a hint of power. Wild power, I'm sorry. So high elves, half-high elves still maintain the ability or natural affinity towards magic that high half-elves get, like regular regular high elves get. So you have your high elf cantrip here, which is minor illusion. You can change that to one of the following here. And I believe you get this cantrip based on the race, no matter what class you select. So if you select a high elf or a high half-elf, you can select one of these spells or abilities as a cantrip just based on your racial selection. And then on top of that, they have the ability to move around their bonuses wherever they choose. They get 2 points so they can move wherever they would like. Then they have Fey Ancestry, Charisma +2, and Dark Vision. High half-elves would make an amazing bard, in my opinion. Then you have your wood half-elf, like their wood elf parent. These half-elves have a quicken stride and an eye for stealth. Yet many break away from isolation of Farron's forest to explore the rest of the realm. Again, you can move your points around, base racial speed, and Mask of the Wild. And then you have your Drow half-elf. The most half-Drow result from liaisons between Celadrine Drow and Surfacers, while half-Drow inherit a few magical gifts they aren't usually raised in the Underdark. Then you have your Lightfoot halflings, are stealthy but social, traveling all over Farron to make names for themselves. Lucky, dexterity, naturally stealthy, base racial speed, charisma. Strongheart Halfling, legends say Dwarven blood. Give strong hearts their hardiness, resistant to poison, and wellspring of endurance. These halflings easily hold their own. A lucky, dexterity, strong heart, resilience, base racial speed, constitution. Lucky right there. Again, you have 8 races, but you can see it's really, really in-depth, the amount of selections and customization you have. I have already decided what I'm going to roll. Again, we're going to run the Lostsworn Drow. Next stop is appearance. Now you can zoom in or out with your mouse wheel here. You have the ability to, again, change your gender here. We're going to roll a male Half-Drow. The one thing that they did weird with voices is they didn't split it between male and female voices. It goes every other. So here, voice 1, you'll hear a male.
Hells. Something.
A tidy slot.
And then you'll hear
no
a female
room.
voice. Now, I will throw this out here. I would like to see them add more voices to the game when it is released. I'm assuming that it's going to happen. It's very limited right now to 4 voices.
Less worn here. Recently uncovered.
Hells. Something just woke up down here.
Those are the 4 voices. We're going to go
slot,
voice 1.
No rune.
And then you have the ability to change your faces. I'm going to go with phase 2. Well, maybe. Let's see what 6 looks like. We're going to go with phase 2. There is a total of 6 faces for each race that you can select from. Skin color. I wonder if I can... You can select all skin color here to make them not look like a drow, which ruins the immersion from me. So you can select your race color here. That actually... That's more drow in my mind. There we go. We're going to roll with that one right there. You have eye color. Again, you have racial eye colors that fit with your story. They said that the Loth Drow have red eyes. So we're going to go with red eyes. But as you can see here, you can change your eyes to any of these other colors just by selecting that tab right there. A lot of eye color selections. We're going to go with a pinkish red, dark red. We'll go with dark red. Hairstyles. There are... You have the ability to go bald or 35 hairstyles. What do we want? What are we going to roll here? Also, the music in this game is really loud compared to the actual game itself and the combat and the dialogue. I do recommend before you start turning down the music. That way you can hear the dialogue without missing anything. And it might change for every new game you start, so you might want to double check when you start a new game. I'm not positive on that. I'll let you guys know in the next video whether that's true or not. It just seems louder than what I had set it at. Honestly, 17 just seems like the best. No, I'm 17, 12. 12 just seems like the best fit right now. Drows in general usually have blonde hair, I believe. Gray? Cool. Violet. Aqua. Aqua blue hair? A little darker, maybe? Ew. Don't like that. We're going to go ahead and give him just white hair, because it fits with what I view a drow as. You can add tattoos to the face, as you can see right there, and change the colors. We'll make it like that so it's more seeable. Actually, I might actually go with the white. That actually looks really cool. I wasn't going to give him a tattoo, but that looked really cool. Usually not a fan of those. I'm actually going to roll with that. We're going to make him a little bit darker. We're going to make him like a dark character. We're going to make him a little bit evil. Makeup style. I'm going to turn off the makeup. We don't care about the makeup. But as you can see, you can add makeup to your character. I'm going no makeup. Alright, so that's your appearance. That's the appearance menu. One thing I would like to see them add is the ability to change the height and the build of your character. He just seems really tall. Alright, class. Class selection. Right now, pre-release, the game is limited on your class selection. You have a total of 6 classes to choose from. Cleric, Fighter, Ranger, Rogue, Warlock, Wizard. I made a Fighter in my previous playthrough with the homies. This time, I'm going to make a Rogue, but I'm going to go through each of the race, or not the race, I'm sorry, the classes that they have available to you, along with all the options you get. There is a lot here, so bear with me. If you need to pause the video, I'm going to go through it kind of quickly. If you need to pause the video to see what something says or what it reads, I'm going to highlight everything I can. Let's start with the Cleric here. Clerics are represented as the guys they worship, wielding the potent divine magic for good or will. Healers. Also damage dealers. Clerics are your religious types. Life Domain. Many good deities offer spells to protect and restore the mind, body, and soul. Life Domain is typically a healing domain. Light Domain is officially your more damage-oriented type of, like, purge the evil type of domain. Domain offered by deities of justice, majesty, and primordial fame, providing spells that dispel darkness and harm the undead. And then you have Trickery Domain. Alright. A domain shared by wicked, chaotic, and mischievous deities alike. Those who claim channel trickery to specialize in deception, illusion, magic. Okay. So the domain will change if you scroll down here at the bottom. Your actions and your spells are based on your subclass. You have proficiency with certain spells, which you don't have to prepare. You have extra actions because I picked the Trickster domain. You have the ability, Blessing of the Trickster, grant another creature advantage on stealth checks. And then spells related to you being a cleric are also a part of this. So because you chose the Trickster domain, you have Disguise Self and Charm Person. These are your spells right here that you have available to you because you are a cleric. Now, you will notice here that you have cantrips here that you can customize. You can change your 3 cantrips, which will always be prepared. These are your spell slot spells right here that you have to prepare. You have your selection right here. Bane, Command, Great Water, Guiding Bolt, Healing Word, Inflict Wounds, Protection from Evil, Shield of Faith, Bless, and Cure Wounds. Alright, so for those of you who do not play D&D or do not know how that works, you need to prepare these spells in order to cast them. And once you've cast them, you have a certain amount of times you can cast the spell before you have to rest and re-prepare the spells. Spells that have to be prepared that you did not prepare cannot be cast. So it makes you choose the spells based on your situation and what you expect to happen. Now again, you'll see if I change the subclass here to the Light Domain, you'll notice that my cantrip has changed to Light. My spells have changed to Burning Hands and Fairy Fire. These have remained the same because I'm still a cleric. And if I change to Life Domain, you'll see that spells have changed. Less Life Domain, Heavy Armor Proficiency, Disciple of Life, Domain Spells. They are always prepared. Life spells are always prepared for you. Alright, so that's your cleric. Then you have your typical fighter. Fighters are your warriors, your frontline guys, your tanks wearing the heavy armor with the big old maces or axes up in the front lines. Fighters have mastered the art of combat, wielding weapons with unmatched skill and wearing armor like a second skin. Maximum hit points per level. This is what I made on my original character. Hit points 12. Strength saving throw proficiency, Constitution saving throw proficiency, light armor proficiency, medium armor proficiency, heavy armor proficiency, shield proficiency, simple weapon proficiency, and martial weapon proficiency. They also gain the action of Second Wind. Sorry about that, my monitor flickered for a second there. They gain the action of Second Wind. They gain 1d10 plus 1 hit points. It is a bonus action. You will see what a bonus... Actually, I'll explain that right now. You get a main action and a bonus action on your turn. So a main action would be something like attacking. A bonus action would be something like this, or pushing somebody, or applying poison to a weapon. That would be your bonus action. Rangers. Rangers are unrivaled scouts and trackers, honing a deep connection with nature in order to hunt their favored prey. So what this favorite enemy is essentially almost like a background for what you like to hunt, what your choice of quote-unquote prey is, and it'll give you a bonus based on what you hunt. So if you have a bounty hunter favorite enemy, right? Gain proficiency in investigation and lure the thieves can't passive. Creatures you restrain have a harder time escaping. You're a bounty hunter. You have a background as a bounty hunter. You chase down thieves and people with bounties. Keeper of the Veil. You specialize in hunting creatures from other planes of existence. You gain proficiency arcana and cast protection from evil and good. You hunt other planal existences. So you have the ability to protect yourself from both evil and good from other planes, depending on that. And you also have an understanding of arcana. Mage Breaker. Against mages, you have the True Strike cantrip. Gain proficiency with arcana. And you get an advantage on attack rolls against a creature. Wisdom spell is your spell casting ability for the spell. So the ability to cast True Strike cantrip is based on your wisdom modifier. Ranger Knight. You have sworn to serve a crown or nation to seek to bring its foes to ruin. Gain proficiency with history and heavy armor. So you know the history of a realm, and you know how to wear heavy armor. Sanctified Stalker. You swore to hunt the enemies of a holy or druidic order. Gain proficiency in religion and the sacred flame cantrip, which deals 1d8 radiant damage. Wisdom is your spellcasting ability for this spell. Rangers have some spellcasting abilities they get. Their modifier is Wisdom. Wisdom is very important to Rangers, as you can kind of tell from all of this. Natural Explorer. Beast Tamer. You have cultivated a strong bond of familiars. You can cast a Find Familiar as a ritual, so you can pretty much summon a pet like a wolf or some crow or something along those lines. Urban Tracker. An expert at navigating the wild within the city. You gain proficiency with the Disguise Kit and Thieves Tool. You have the ability to pretty much... You're used to living in cities. Wasteland Wanderer. You spent endless days surviving desolate tundras, gain resistance to cold damage, taking only half damage from it. Same thing with fire. And same thing with poison. Maximum hit points per level is 11. Strength saving throw, dexterity saving throw, light armor, medium armor, shield, simple, and martial weapon proficiency. I will remind you that back on race, that we have a short sword proficiency and rapier proficiency. So don't forget that you also get proficiencies with weapons based on your race. Alright, so rogues. Rogues are your thieves. With stealth, skill, and uncanny reflexes, a rogue's versatility lets them get the upper hand in almost any situation. Maximum hit points per level is 9. Dexterity saving throw, intelligence saving throw, light armor proficiency, simple armor weapon proficiency, hand crossbow, longsword, rapier, and short sword proficiency. You also have the sneak attack, 1d6 plus 1. When you sneak and you sneak attack somebody. And same thing with the bow. Warlock. I'm sorry, was there one for Ranger? Let me double check. No, there was not one for Ranger. Warlock. Bound by a pact to an all-powerful patron, Warlocks trade their loyalty for supernatural abilities and unique magic. So you have subclasses here. The Fiend. The Great Old One. So those look like the only two selections. I'm sure they're going to add more as time goes on and the game's released. This is essentially going to change your spells. This is who the other the supernatural. Okay, I'm sorry. This is the all-powerful patron that you're bound to. The Great Old One right here. Warlocks bound to Eldritch begins in the far realms, work towards inscrutables, getting strange powers over entropy in the mind. So mental magic, and it changes your spells here to Dissonant Whispers, 3d6 Psychic, inflicts Frightened. Cautious Hideous Laughter inflicts hideous laughter, leaving it prone and incapacitated. And you can customize these as well. And again, you have your cantrips. Now, if you change this, it just changes the base spells and your cantrips. I don't know. I don't think you get a different selection of spells. Yeah, it's just the same spells. The Dark One's Blessing. When you reduce a hostile creature to 0 points, this gift from your patron grants you Charisma modifier plus level hit points. So that's for the Fiend. And the Great Old One doesn't add anything. I'm assuming it gives you proficiency with spells based on who your subclass is. So then you have your Wizard. Your typical spellcaster. Wizards master the arcane by specializing in visual schools of magic, combining ancient spells and modern research. Cantrips. There's your cantrip selection. Your spells. They can have 6 spells memorized at a time, or prepared, as it were. Music in this game, by the way, is 10 out of 10. And prepared spells. So those are the spells they have learned, and these are the spells they have prepared. So you have to know the spell and then prepare the spell. Spell slots unlocked. You gain 2 level 1 spell slots, which are restored on a long rest. Intelligence saving throw, wisdom saving throw, dagger, dart, sling, quarterstaff, and light crossbow. Proficiency and arcane recovery. Once per day, out of combat, replenish expended spell slots, which will allow you to cast spells. There it is. Now I'm torn between a ranger and a rogue. I might run I'm going to go ahead and run a rogue. I'm going to make myself a drow rogue. If I remember right, they have rapier proficiency. And I don't know if it stacks or not. I do not believe it stacks. But I might go ahead and dual wield like rapiers or something of that sort. We're going to go ahead and roll a rogue. I want to see what the stealth and the trap disarming is like. And in my opinion, a lot of times rogue is like the most in-depth class in terms of mechanics of the game. All the things that they're required or they help your team doing that you wouldn't know that they were doing if you didn't have a rogue in your group. All right, for skills. Skills is the next tab. So, skills with proficiency. You receive a bonus to every skill that you're proficient in. This bonus increases as you gain levels in your class and applies to all checks for that skill. You have acrobatics, athletics, deception, insight, intimidation, investigation, perception, performance, persuasion, sleight of hand, and stealth. I have stealth, sleight of hand, which makes sense. Persuasion makes sense. Deception makes sense. Because of our background, we have it also in acrobatics and performance. Aside of maybe athletics, that might be the best selection. Skills without proficiency: arcana, nature, history, religion, animal handling, medicine, and survival. Those are just skills we cannot get proficiency in at this time. Now that we have done that, we go to abilities. This is your attributes. Obviously, as a rogue, we want to be very dexterous. We'll go through each one. Strength, that influences your chance to land a hit and your damage with strength-based weapons. It affects the distance you can jump and the weight you can carry. Dexterity influences your chance to land a hit and attack roll your damage with a dexterity-based weapon. It also influences your chance of going first in combat and the enemy's chance of hitting you. Constitution influences your max number of hit points, the amount of damage you can take. Intelligence. Wizards use intelligence as their spellcasting ability. Likelihood spells will land. Wisdom. Druids, rangers, and clerics use wisdom as their spellcasting ability. The likelihood spells will land. And charisma. Bards, paladins, warriors, or warlocks, sorcerers use charisma as their spellcasting ability. The likelihood spells will land. Now, as you can see, you can take points out of here. You can put them other places. Once you hit 12 points, the points to go from 12 to 13 will cost you 2. So you will take 2 points out of strength just to raise Constitution 1. But if you take points out of Constitution, you see how the modifier goes down to +1. You can put those points right back into strength like that. I want to say after 15, it costs 3 points for dexterity. But I'm not positive. It might be 15 or 16. We're going to go ahead and roll with that. We're going to hit Venture Forth, and it's going to ask you...
Who do you dream of at night?
To essentially build your perfect pairing. The opposite of you. Not like the opposite, but like... Okay, we're just going to go... To ask you to create the babe or the hunk of your dreams is what it's going to ask you to do. It's going to have the races up here. Same racial selections as previously for your own character with the same sub-races. You have the ability to do male or female down here. I'm going to go ahead and run a drow. I'm going to create a drow. You can change their voices right here. We're going to change their skin color down here. Same customization as in the previous screen or character creation screens. 6 faces you can choose from. We're going to go with that one right there. Eye color. Hairstyle. Again, same selections, just for your female this time around. Hair colors. Give her some purple hair. Tattoo styles. We'll give her a little bit of a tattoo. Some makeup here. And then that is it for the character creation. Then you hit the venture forward. Right down here at the bottom. A cutscene will play, and your game will start. I'm not going to spoil any more from there. Again, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like and subscribe at the bottom. I will be uploading my playthroughs for the early access as we go along here, along with my Skyrim playthroughs. If you haven't checked those out, I'm playing through Skyrim for the first time. Hopefully, you've been able to take in and see everything that is offered to you in character creation. I'm super excited for this game to come out. They're going to have so many options just in character creation, and then the story twists around your character based on what you select for your backgrounds, etc. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was informative to you to show you guys kind of what to expect when you make a character in this game, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.
Can I get some music for this?
Nope.
How long will that go?
You said 30 seconds.
How long have I been going?
10.
Am I doing it right?
I have no idea. I'm not even
Is this
watching.
31?
No comment.